going to try and get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
Some of the video of the assault on the U.S. Capitol building played during Thursday's congressional hearing had never been seen before. It shows the scale and violence of the attack on January the 6th, highlighting the role President Trump played and challenging those who have sought to minimize the event. Kadia Goba is a national politics reporter with BuzzFeed News. She was there that day at the Capitol building. Kadia, thanks for speaking with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I want to ask you what impact the video released at the hearing might have. And I want to start with the far-right group, the Proud Boys, and we're going to look at an excerpt as some of their members storm the Capitol.
Be advised, there's probably about 300 Proud Boys. They're marching eastbound in this 400 block of kind of Independence, actually on the mall towards the United States Capitol.
I am not allowed to say what's going to happen today, because everyone's just going to have to watch.
Kadia, the documentary filmmaker, as you know, testified last night about following the group and hearing how they planned out the attack. So kind of looking at it from the perspective of today, what does all of this say about the role of the Proud Boys?
Yeah, so the January 6th committee, this was very intentional, and they're trying to draw a line between people in the administration and right-wing extremist groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. So what you see here is them trying to debunk any idea that this is just a bunch of hooligans that just showed up at the Capitol, but more so that this was a premeditated and planned event by extremist groups at the direction of former President Trump.
In the footage, as we know, we saw a lot of Trump flags and chants. The president also, no surprise, was tweeting, and the rioters appeared to be listening.
My kids didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. U.S. demands the truth. Bring out pigs! Bring out pigs! Bring out pigs!
So we heard a rioter reading out that tweet from Trump. And so looking at everything and given what you know, do you think if Trump had tweeted for people to stand down at that point, there would have been a different outcome?
There is no question in my mind, had former President Trump tweeted to stand down, that his supporters would have listened. This is there's an example right there where you see them literally reading his tweets while they're standing outside of the Capitol. Lawmakers were yelling it inside the Capitol, and an onslaught of people, including people within the administration, was directing his Mark Meadows, his chief of staff, to tell people to stand down. Of course, they would have listened.
One of the most riveting moments last night for me watching all of this was the Capitol Police Officer Caroline Edwards testifying. She described the violent chaos at the Capitol before and after she was injured. She said she'd policed many demonstrations, but nothing like January the 6th.
We can't hold this. We're gonna get too many fucking people. Look at this fucking vantage point, man. We're fucked.
We lost the line! We lost the line! All MPDs get back! All MPDs get back up to the upper deck! All MPDs get back to the upper deck! ASAP!
Listen, from Vancouver, sitting on my couch, all of this was difficult to watch. You were there on January 6th. What was your reaction seeing the video images last night?
It's been really hard. It's been hard for me. It's been hard for members of Congress. During last night's hearing, you heard people crying, or you saw members of Congress crying. I know I've been in this weird mix of, trying to watch it as a reporter, but veering away a little bit because it is very jarring. That was a 10-minute piece. And then just to follow up, you heard testimony from the Capitol Police officer really describe what was going on, saying she was slipping on blood and that she saw her colleagues vomiting and she had to deal with all of that. And this is before she was knocked unconscious. So yeah, seeing this brings back a lot. It's triggering. It brings back a lot of memories and it's been a year and a half. I personally had to hide behind a chair during the event. I didn't understand the magnitude or the amount of people that were outside the door, but I did fear for my life.
We can't predict these things, but as a political reporter based in Washington, you certainly have an insight that most of us do not. In a polarized America, what kind of impact do you think these hearings will have?
I think people are, speculating whether or not it's going to change voters' minds. I think, for one, this was an assault on democracy. And I think Democrats are really interested in making that clear. And second of all, I think Democrats are trying to remind people why they voted for President Joe Biden. I think I'm not lost on the political, triumph that they're going for here. But I think it's twofold: trying to convince people why they voted for Joe Biden, and also just understanding this was a big assault on our democracy, with the hopes that the Department of Justice actually acts.
Kadia, so nice to have your insights on the program. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.